All right. Okay. There is an issue with my character, the yellow fella. I was all set to go with the yellow fella who's yellow. It was going to be great not to drive a joke further into the ground that you have all beaten to death. But I really did think that it could be my Hawk Tuah. I mean, I believe that about every idea that I have because you have to as an artist. But I really thought that this was going to be great. I had short form verticals. I had a text post. I had a long form strategy. It was all there. All of a sudden, I get a call from Eddie this morning, and he's like, "Have you posted any of Yellow Fella yet?" And I said, "No, I was just about to do it. I'm putting the last of the makeup, in my inner ear hole." And he said, "Okay, well, you pump the brakes on Yellow Fella because we've got a couple issues." And I was like, "Oh, what is it? What is it?" Because it seems like there's been a fucking issue with every single thing that I've posted the past week. Not that anybody has given a shit about it. So thankfully, if anything's going to get me canceled, it hasn't happened yet because you can't get canceled if you have 2 views. But anyway, I said, "What is the issue?" And he said, apparently, there is a pressure-treated wood company in Alabama that runs TV ads where their mascot is called the Yellow Fella. And I said, "Well, how is it spelled?" Because my Yellow Fella is spelled Yella, Fella, like fella, with a southern accent. And he said it's spelled the exact same way. It's Yellow Fella with an A. And I said, "Are you sure? Please check that because that's a very, very important distinction." And he said, "I'm looking at the Wikipedia right now. It's right on here." And I said, "Okay, well, I mean, what is his follower count? Because are people really going to be commenting on the video and saying, 'Hey, you're stealing this idea from the Alabama-based pressure-treated wood company'?" And he said, "Well, this guy, the Rick Astley, I don't know what his name is, Rick Ding Dong. I feel like his name was Rick Paste or something like that. He's the richest man in Alabama." So I said, "Okay, so he's $20. And he said, "Dan, you've got to take this seriously because this is the kind of guy who's going to get us into serious trouble. You've skirted by on the Chuckler. You skirted by on the other one, the Green Goober. But you cannot... First of all, we can't afford this financially right now because you've really been flopping the past month. And you stopped doing cameos because you said those were getting on your nerves. So we cannot afford this kind of hit. And also, after yesterday, I don't think it's the best idea for you to be doing the Yellow Fella." And I said, "What do you mean after yesterday? What are you talking about?" And he said, after that closet video, I don't think it's the best idea." And I was like, what was wrong with the closet video? And he said, "Come on, Dan, you know that that was iffy." And I was like, "What do you mean it was iffy? It was scary. It was scary. It was a horror thing. It was a horror trope. Like in a cartoon where you only see the eyes and the mouth in the dark, that movie Lights Out. Have you ever seen that movie Lights Out? That they do that in that movie. I don't understand what you're talking about." And he said, "Well, there were some people who had an issue with it because they interpreted it in a way that I'm sure that you didn't mean, but they interpreted it in a way that you can't really blame them for viewing that because watch it again and tell me that you can't see where they're coming from." And I was like, who is coming from exactly? And he said, "There were people in your comments who were very upset." And I said, "Eddie, I want you to get out a fucking calculator and I want you to crunch these numbers. The closet video yesterday, let's do Instagram. 200,000 views, okay? Total. It had maybe 30 comments, 30. I want you to do 30 divided by 200,000 and tell me the percentage point that you get. Even if it was 300 or whatever it is, I don't know what it is, but you get the idea. Crunch the numbers and tell me the percentage. It's 0.001 or something. The vast majority of people did not have that issue." And he said, "Well, you have a responsibility. for what you put out, because people might take it the wrong way. And I said, no, I don't. I do not. I gotta be careful because my windows are open. But how is it fair of you to ask me to limit myself to the lowest common denominator? What kind of world would we live in if every day, before anybody did anything, they had to ask themselves, well, hold on a minute, because I should really think about what the stupidest person on earth is going to think of this. What kind of world would we live in if that was how we made creative decisions? So no! I gotta be sorry, I'm being loud. So no, Eddie, I'm going with the yellow fella, and I don't give a shit. Because it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, it doesn't fucking matter. And sorry, I sort of got derailed there, but I really shouldn't be saying yellow fella, because he is right. I did take a look at that, and it was not that would be a problem. I look totally different from his yellow fella, but that being said, my new character is now called the Yeller Feller. So it's spelled Yeller, Yeller, like Old Yeller. Not Old Yeller, a different entity than Old Yeller. Yeller Feller, like a Yosemite Sam. Not Yosemite Sam. I'm using that as an example of somebody who might say like the Yeller Feller. What in tarnation are y'all the Yeller Feller? And let me be very clear. The only reason why my character is called the Yeller Feller is because he is, how do I put this? Because he is the color yellow. Like SpongeBob. SpongeBob is the color yellow. That is an objective fact. So I am the Yeller Feller. And I'm genuinely sorry if anybody has a problem with anything that I post. I'm really, really sorry. But you have to understand that I cannot be held responsible for what people think of, for how people interpret my stuff, because there's people who think that every video I make, I'm sending them coded messages to drive their car into the Burger King by their house. So I cannot carry the weight of every single person on earth. I'm sorry. And so I fired Eddie because I said, you are really, let me tell you something, pal. You're getting a little too, it's because I've been mentioning your name in these videos. You're getting a little too comfortable in your spot. So I would suggest that you find another job. Good luck, by the way, because nobody's hiring right now, especially in creative industries. There's no market for people like you who assisted niche internet comedians. Good fucking luck, pal. That's what you get for trying to fuck. That's what you get for weighing me down with all of this crap. Do you understand how hurtful it is? I worked so hard all weekend on that hotel, my magnum opus, the Hotel Trilogy. I worked so hard, painstakingly. Stanley fucking Kubrick came into my body through my fucking asshole. Not literally, I mean, in a figurative sense. And I painstakingly, do you know how painstakingly I tried to do a 3-hour video that is one uninterrupted take? 3 hours, 2 hours. 1 minute, an hour and 55. But still, pouring my soul out. Pouring my soul out about something that happened to me that was very, very, very difficult. Do you know how difficult it is to do that and then have nobody give a fuck besides maybe 20,000 people? To have nobody give a shit at all. Just poof, like a butterfly, off into the wind. They're on to the next. They're on to Hawk 2-2. Hawk 2-2. Which should have been me. And I don't understand what I'm doing wrong. I thought surely one of these colors is it. One of these 20 colors has got to be it. So this is my last hope. Honestly, because I'm out of colors. This is the last one. I'm trying to think if I still have teal, but I have some variants on blue, but I already did blue guy. I can't have baby blue guy and teal guy and then forest green guy as opposed to the green goober. Instead of the green goober, I'm the forest green goober. Actually, that's not bad. That could be something. Forest green goober versus the regular green goober. Somebody steal that. It's just, and then I wonder, like, what if, let's say this does go viral. So what? I've gone viral 5 times a month for the last 4 years. And I'm still doing the exact same fucking thing. So, what's the point? What is the point? Anyway, I'm sorry. This was supposed to be a video about the yeller feller. Oh, darn tootin', I'm the yeller feller. I'm the yeller feller. I'm the yeller feller. I think maybe I could have a cowboy hat or something, maybe, for the yeller feller. Because if I made it clear, and that's what I was trying to tell Eddie, if I made it clear, like, this guy's a cowboy, and he said, well, then that would be an issue because the yellow fella is also a cowboy, So you literally are stealing that guy's idea if you're doing that. And I said, well, he's not. And I looked at the photos of the yellow fella, and he doesn't. His face is normal colored. The only thing that's yellow about that fella is his hat and which I'm not trying to, Jim Crane, what was his name? Tim Rat? Whatever his name is, you're welcome, pal, for your shitty oh, I'm sorry, I shouldn't say that. Oh, man. God damn it. Tim Vor. That's definitely not it. Randy Crap. Randy Crap. If you're watching this, his name is something like that. Randy Crap, if you're watching this, I am not trying to infringe on your copyright. And you're welcome, because I normally charge up the wazoo we're talking, you can't be Alabama rich to afford me, pal. Anyway. So, I don't know. Fuck it. Honestly, fuck it. Yeah, I'm going to post the yeller feller. Fuck it. Why not? That's the thing. I wake up every day and I'm like, what the fuck am I going to do today? I'm just like, all right, fine. I'll paint my face gold. I'll paint my face fucking light blue. Fine. I'll stick a baby doll's head on a piece of bread. Why not? What the hell else am I going to do? Anyway. Darn tootin', I'm the yeller feller. Do I still have the gun in the car? Or I don't have a gun in the car. I'm talking the prop. Forget it. See you later.